What's up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's podcast, where for about the first 45 minutes of his podcast, our boy Phil lost his mind. And he used the session more of a therapeutic session to get some stuff out of his chest. And as we hear, we find out that our boy Phil gets some emails or correspondence from supporters, essentially chastising for his very poor behavior the last few days, and also reverting back to his begging ways. So, yep, it was 45 minutes. I'm not going to do the whole 45 minutes because my video would probably be 3 hours long. So I am reviewing the first 9 minutes, which I think are very critical, and those first 9 minutes help you understand Phil's mindset. And the rest of it is mostly filler anyway. So let's take a look at it. I broke it out into chunks. I'll provide my insight. And yeah, so let's get into the video.
There have been days where I've come to stream and I've been purposely like pissy to people on the stream, and it's not your fault. It's because this shit going on. And you know, that's a shortcoming of mine. That's a human shortcoming. I apologize for that. But you know, it is what it is. If there's a day and you come, you're like, Phil, why do you seem so upset today? That's probably why. There's probably stuff going on behind the scenes I can't really talk about. And it's affecting me in a real negative way, and it sucks because I'm a public guy. I can't just decide, oh, today I'm really upset about stuff behind the stream. I guess I won't go to stream today. No, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be on stream every day and be a public-facing personality to make a living. This is my job, to be here on camera with you guys, you know? So it is tough some days to not have that negativity come through. And I apologize for that, you know? I also want to apologize because I got a couple messages overnight from people saying they're upset with me. And whenever someone's upset with me, I want to seriously consider it for what they're saying at face value. All right? And these are not people, these are not trolls. I want to clarify something. These were not trolls who messaged me. These are actually like fans, people who I care about because they care about me, and they're very upset with me. And so I want to apologize to everyone for the last few days. If you feel like I came across like yesterday or the day before and I was talking about tips and can you help me with tips and stuff like that, people don't like that, and they're pissy. Not pissy, excuse me, that's the wrong word. Not pissy, they're pissed, and they should rightfully be pissed. If there's someone who's a fan of me and a fan of my content, and they're coming to my streams and they're upset because they're like, oh my god, Phil's doing it again. And you know, and the thing is, there's a difference between saying to you guys, you know, I'm stressed today because finances are going bad. Or there's a difference between that and saying, hey, by the way, send me tips, right? There's a big difference between those two things. And it just sucks because...
Okay, so what we have here is what I call the apology segment, where Phil apologizes, but then of course, you know, with every apology comes the excuse for why he did what he did. Phil, that's not an apology. An apology is, I screwed up, I messed up, I apologize, please forgive me, and I will try to do better in the future. That's an apology. You don't, anything after that doesn't matter. You just apologize and you just say, I'm going to try better, and just move forward. Secondly, you preface it by saying that the people that responded to you were people you cared about, supporters, not trolls or detractors. What difference does it make who gives you the feedback if the feedback is right? What you've acknowledged is yes, what they're saying is correct. So what does it matter whether it's a detractor or someone that supports you? And that's one of your shortcomings, Phil, where you have difficulty accepting criticism from anyone, whether it's a supporter or not. And I really think you need to look internally and try to determine why that's the case. You said it yourself, you're very bullheaded, you don't like people telling you what to do, and that is a terrible personality trait that you really need to deal with. And you're going to be 41 years old. That's something that you should have dealt with in your 20s. But I think you never had anyone to kind of push back on you and actually tell you you're wrong and challenge you. That's probably the big issue the big issue and the reason for why you act the way you act. And yeah, I mean, your supporters came out, and I don't think it really was the beg that much. I mean, yeah, I think that bothered them, because especially since you said you were no longer going to do it, and you know, this is what your third or fourth apology in like 2 months, going all the way back to scorn, where you promised you wouldn't do this anymore and you continuously do it. I think what bothered them more was your behavior. I mean, yesterday on your playthrough of Wulong, you were just pissy and miserable, and you could tell. And I clipped that one clip where right after the podcast, when you did your shout outs, you only had one tip, and you specifically said, okay, I only have one tip. Wow. And you gave this roll of your eyes, and you read this $2 tip, and you could tell you were annoyed. And the tips were slow until 1 Minute Man and someone else came in and dropped about, $80-90 on you in tips. And then once you got to about $100, we noticed your attitude change, and you got a little more perkier. And that's why we say that money drives you. And your behavior specifically, your behavior that you display on your stream actually just proves that. And I think that's why your supporters came out. I think it was more about the way you handled not receiving the tips that probably bothered them the most. That's what bothered me the most, because I know you're going to beg. But when you start treating your viewers and your supporters crappy and pissy and try to put out that, I'm upset, or I'm sad, or I'm struggling, or I really don't want to be here because I have so much on my mind. No, Phil. You're there to do a stream. You're there to entertain people. And just like these supporters said, they don't want to hear about your problems every 5 minutes. They have their own problems. They come to your streams to be entertained and to kind of, for a few hours, maybe not think about all of their problems, Phil. And you just adding your problems on top of their problems? Why would anyone want to bother coming and spend time with you? You know what I mean? That's like the relative that you have that's always miserable, always complaining, complains that nobody wants to be around them, maybe because they're always complaining. So, okay, the next segment here I'm going to be calling the begging and the excuse segment.
Being that my major source of income is crowdfunding from you guys, right? Major. I mean, the only other thing that I really get income from that's not crowdfunding is ad revenue. And ad revenue is all over the place and you can't control it.
By the way, I forgot one little part about the last segment is when at the very end when he says there's a difference with telling people I'm worried or upset, and I'm concerned for my finances, from him saying I need you to give me tips. He said there's a difference. No, Phil, there isn't a difference. The words that are coming out of your mouth and what you're conveying is that what you need your viewers to do is give you money. Tips specifically. That's what you're conveying. Regardless of how you say it, you're still saying it, Phil. So whether you full throat out said, I need you to give me money now, versus you saying, guys, I hope you guys like the stream. If you like the stream, I'd appreciate it if you tip me. I have 2 big bills that are coming up and I don't know how I'm going to pay for things. It's the same thing. You're trying to elicit a response from your viewers to give you money. And there's really no difference. One's less rude than the other, but it's still exactly the same thing. Okay, let's get back to the second segment.
Half the time my videos get demonetized. I mean, I couldn't tell you. Probably 2 videos a week on DSP Reacts is monetized. Everything else is demonetized, right? So you can't really control that. And so when I'm in a situation where things are bad or tight, it's like kind of going to a friend or a family member and saying, hey, things are tight. If you were already going to help because you probably were going to, could you help in this particular way? People don't like that. They're very upset with me. And, I'm happy that people told me. I'm happy that rather than people saying, we are just going to give you the, say everything's fine. I don't want a room of yes men and women with me. You understand? I don't want that. If people have issues with me and things that I say, I absolutely want to know about it. And I'm happy, very happy, that people came to me and said, even the way you said it, yes, it's not like you're sitting here and you're begging and demanding anything, but it's still wrong. Okay? So the thing is, I don't even know what to do. When you're in a situation where you need the help, right? But just simply bringing it up or asking not even asking, suggesting, because I didn't even ask for anything. I suggested something. Even that is offensive to people or upsetting to people, right? Like, I don't know how to go about it. You know? I just don't. If you don't mention it, then you might not get what you need. Which has happened. You know? It's like, maybe if I don't mention it at all, right? As I've told you guys, what I look at when I look at the business is there a pattern being established? Okay? If I'm streaming and I've got a slow day.
Okay, so this is the Begment segment, and geez. Okay, Phil. So I'm just gonna answer this segment with you. You're asking the question, what do I do? How do I handle this? I'm gonna give you this bit of advice, Phil, and I'm not saying it because I'm a detractor. I'm saying it because you have this pattern, you have this behavior, and you know it. You specifically say it yourself. You know it's an issue. And it causes a good deal of the trolling and the detractors, Phil. So if you're listening to this, I'm being serious, I'm being wholehearted with you. The response to me to you about how to handle this is you don't say anything. You don't. You may bring it up once at the beginning of the stream. Your viewers have been with you for years. They know exactly what you need. They know what you're asking for. You don't have to remind them. You actually even have it on the screen. You mention it once and that's it. If you don't get the tips, you don't get the tips. If you don't get the support, you don't get the support, Phil. And you just have to find a way to make your streams more entertaining and more appealing. Okay? The second thing I'm going to say is, if you don't get the tips and you don't get the support, I'm sorry, Phil, then you're going to need to cut back on your streaming and get yourself a part-time job. I understand this is your business, this is your job, Phil, but in America and anywhere else, if the business model doesn't work, you either change it or you find yourself another line of business. And I don't think I know you understand that, but I don't think you're willing to accept that. And that's the issue, Phil. So if you're not getting the support streaming, then you're going to have to find another way to make ends meet. And that's no one's, like you like to say, it's no one's business about your business and the money you get in and what you do with your money. Okay, fine. That it's your business. That's no one's business, right? But it's no one's business that you can't manage your money, that you can't plan accordingly, that you can't budget your money properly, that you have so many bills, that you have so many debt, old debt. It's no one's business and it's no one's problem. So for you to sit here and guilt people and try to make it their problem is not right. So that is my honest feedback to you, is you don't mention it. You don't bring up tips, you don't bring up support. If you don't get tips, you don't get support, then you need to rethink your business model and you may have to reconsider maybe getting a part-time job to supplement your income. Sorry, but that's what you're going to have to do.
When it comes to any kind of support, all right? It's not something that's a big deal. And it's hilarious because my detractors always make it out to be a big deal. Any day that they're literally, I'm not even kidding you, they literally sit here and calculate how much I make in a day.
Okay, I know I'm stopping this early, but what does this have to do with anything that you're talking about, Phil? What do the detractors tracking what you make have to do with you begging, with you apologizing for begging and for being rude? What does the detractors have to do about that? Well, we calculate what you make. We make videos about it. We talk about it. I thought you ignored that. I thought you didn't care what the detractors say. So why are you worried what the detractors are doing, Phil? That's the first point. The second point is, again, how is this germane to your discussion and your argument? Okay, the detractors do things. Okay, what does that have to do with you apologizing and you admitting that you have a problem that you continuously beg?
And they post it all over their videos on the internet. Even I don't do that. I don't on a daily basis. I'm not just sitting here with a spreadsheet going like this. They think like, what, you ever see those old cartoony accountants? They have the visor, the glasses, and like one of those old calculators with the receipt shoots out of it. So there's like every day, they're watching my stream. Oh, a $2 super chat came in. Oh, a tip came in. They're calculating, and they have these big running tallies, you know, of what's being made on a stream, right? Which is all wrong, because of course there's a million factors. There's chargebacks you don't know about. There's the fees associated with each and every transaction. What you see come in is not what a streamer gets. It's bullshit. Okay.
Again, Phil, what does that have to do with what you're talking about? Your apology and you admitting that you did something wrong and you're begging. What does the detractors have to do with that? And another thing, I would like to call this the money coming in and not planning segment. So right here, Phil just told us that he doesn't track his finances to the dollar to the T every day. I'm telling you right now, Phil, that is bad. That is not a good thing, especially for someone like you. You're a business owner, you're in debt, and every dollar counts. My grandmother used to say, she had a saying, she would say that if you don't respect your money won't respect you. Which means that if you're not careful with your money, you don't track it, you don't know where every dollar goes, how you spend it, that money's not going to respect you and reciprocate good things for you. Essentially, that's the saying, Phil. So you of all people should be tracking everything that you bring in. You know why? Because if you're tracking every dollar that comes in every day, right? You know you have X amount in your bank account, right? When you know you have X amount in your bank account, you double X amount and then you deduct your fees and all that stuff. I'm talking about your net profit, and then you take away your taxes, right? Right. Let's say you made $300 in a day, and after fees and taxes, you're left with $200 in your bank account. You know you have $200. So when you think about maybe I should DoorDash and spend $30, if you know that you only have $200 in your bank account, you might reconsider doing that DoorDash. If you know you have $200 in your bank account and you're thinking about doing WWE Champions, you may reconsider that $16.51 and not play WWE Champions and keep the $200, because you know that you have bills coming up, you know that you have responsibilities come up, and you can't waste your money. You can't waste your money in November when you got an extra couple, maybe $1,000, $1,500 more. You can't waste that on Xbox Series S's, controllers, a monitor, TVs, whatever it is, Phil. You need to save every penny and account for it. So you sitting here telling me that you don't plan, you don't sit down and actually follow and track every dollar that comes in. That's bad on you, Phil. You of all people should have an Excel spreadsheet. Matter of fact, no. You of all people should have Quicken Books. I have Quicken Books. Quicken Books is perfect. Every dollar that I make and I pull in either from ad revenue, super chats, my other businesses, everything is tracked in Quicken Books, so that every 3 months when I file my taxes, all I have to do is print. I know exactly what I owe, and I cut a check to the IRS, and at the end of the year, I spend maybe 30 minutes compiling everything, submitting everything, and I usually end up with a zero balance, which means I don't owe anything to the IRS and they don't owe me anything. Just because I take that time to actually plan, which is something, Phil, you should be doing.
Okay, but this is how they are. They're just nuts in that regard. But I don't even do that. You know, what I see is if there's a pattern of days, if there's like several days where I'm noticing, wow, that actually was a series of days where things were quite slow, you know, on any kind of support. And how do I really gauge it? How do I notice it? Well, as you know, we have goals in effect on streams, right? So for example, today, if we raise $50 on this very stream, I put on my Gunner glasses, okay? And then if we raise $100 on the stream, I put on a hat. You guys pick a silly hat for me to wear or whatever, right? So That's what I mean. Like, that's how I gauge it. Is like, if I notice, I've been putting on the glasses a lot, then probably things are going good. If I notice, man, I haven't worn a hat in a long time, it probably means there's been a string of pretty slow days, right? And that's really how I do it. And in particular, I don't.
No offense, Phil, but that is the stupidest way to gauge your income. You have YouTube analytics, Phil. You know exactly what you get every single day in ad revenue, super chats and everything. You can go in, pull up the information, and know. It's available every single day, Phil. And you can export it at that. And for PayPal, you can go to PayPal and probably get a report of what you get. So every day you should be conducting an audit of everything that you received so that you can understand where you sit on that given day. And mind you, you guys know I've been doing the videos where I compare his income, his super chats, and his tips, compare last year to this year. And you know he's down 26%. He's pulled in 26% less in tips and his super chats than he did last year. So as a business owner, that's something that he should know and he should track every day. And at that, he should be looking at YouTube analytics to look at his views and to see how much he made per video, which is something you can do. You can check that and know what that is. Because if you see that certain content isn't really giving you any money, then maybe you should stop doing that content and focus on more lucrative videos. All right. I told you I was going to help my boy Phil here.
I don't look at stuff until I absolutely have to. And then I look at it and I'm like, oh crap. Well, here's what's coming up. I got bills coming up. I got this coming up. And wow, because I've had a string of slow days that have happened within like a 2-week period, I'm in a situation where, wow, things are real bad right now. And I don't even know how I'm going to do what I need to do in the next week.
Okay, he just admitted that he doesn't plan. And he waits until the very last minute to realize, oh, I need money. I need more money. Again, Phil, that's on you. Okay, he keeps rambling on about detractors and stuff like that. I'm gonna jump a little forward to. I'm gonna jump to like the 8-minute mark, because I think the 8-minute mark.
And support the stream today. Okay. I don't feel like.
Okay, so here at the 8-minute mark, which is the lag segment, he talks about friendship and all that stuff, and I just find it very comical because this is a man who years ago, not even years ago, I think last year was the earliest I remember him saying it, where viewers talked about him, being their friend. He basically said, we're not friends, we're people that we enjoy something. I stream for you, you guys support me, but we're not friends. Direct quote that he said. And now he's trying to treat his supporters that give him money, of course, as friends, because it's easier to beg from a friend than it is a stranger.
This is me transactionally talking to a bunch of people who throw money at me. I don't feel that at all. I feel like we actually have a friendly relationship where we can talk transparently and people won't be offended.
Notice how he said friendly. He didn't say a friendship. He said friendly. So even now, when he needs the support of his supporters, he can't even call them friends. And I think they're the closest that you do have to a friend, Phil, because you don't have any relationships other than the relationship with your wife and your cat and maybe your parents, but that's not friendship. That's that's a spousal relationship, and that's a parent-child relationship, and that's a pet to an owner to pet relationship.
But apparently that's not the case, because I actually have a couple longtime supporters who actually said we hate it when you talk like that. It actually offends us. It pisses us off. It makes us feel the wrong way, and I apologize for that. Because when I talk transparently, I'm not thinking that way. I'm thinking, talking to a friend, talking to someone who I trust, who cares about me, and who would want to know, hey, if I was going to support you today, what's the best way? I get the feeling a lot of the times when I have something like this on the screen, maybe this is giving the wrong impression. Maybe on a day like today, where I'm like, I know for a fact that I need some help with tips, I should just not have that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the case. Maybe what I need to do is try to like cater the streams towards particularly what's best for the business that day, right? And maybe that's what I need to do rather than saying it. You know what I'm saying?
And there you have it, folks. 9 minutes, and our boy Phil circled back and actually learned nothing. He thinks semantics will fix his problem. That's essentially what he's doing here. He's saying, well, maybe if I remove the member goal from the screen, that will subjectively tell my viewers and supporters that I need tips. Maybe that's what I need to do. No, Phil. What you need to do, Phil, is let people tip, do memberships, do super chats, do super stickers the way they want. You don't need to gatekeep how people support you, Phil. And if people feel more comfortable super chatting you because they don't want you to have their information, then you should say nothing about that. If people want to give you a membership, you should say nothing about that but thank you. If someone wants to give you a tip, you should say nothing about it but thank you. Anyway, if you guys want to check out the rest of the video, I can't do the whole 45 because, of course, it's just him going back and forth and ranting and raving. And most of it had nothing to do with the apology. Essentially, most of it was him apologizing and then explaining why he did what he did. And again, like I've always stated, that's not an apology. An apology is simply saying, I'm sorry, I did wrong, or I wronged you. Forgive me. I will do better and not do it again. And that's it. Not sit here and blame detractors, blame not him planning properly, blaming his bills, blaming you, Twitch, blaming everyone but himself. This squarely falls on you, Phil. All of your life choices that you made fall on you, Phil. And until you learn that lesson, Phil, you're going to continue being on level 1. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.